There is a moment many people reach, usually quietly. They look at their life, the job, the home, the responsibilities they once prayed for, and wonder why it feels so heavy. This is the exhaustion of the nervous system. It is the persistent, bone-deep drain that comes from the sheer effort of performing and keeping up. It's the daily pressure to earn more, respond faster, achieve sooner, age slower, and somehow remain perfectly grateful through the grind. This unshakable weight is a signal. It points directly to a crisis hiding in plain sight. When an individual eventually cracks under this weight, society looks for a flaw in the person rather than the pressure. We reframe systemic burnout as a boundary issue. We take widespread anxiety and label it a lack of resilience. Because we are taught to look inward for the cause of our pain, we accept these labels as truth. We take the friction of a broken environment and internalize it as a personal failure, creating a deep, lonely shame. When millions of people share the same exhaustion, the struggle is no longer a private defect. It is a completely logical response to a toxic environment. Physician and author Dr. Gabor Maté asks a different question. What kind of culture actively keeps producing disconnected, exhausted people? A toxic culture survives by making deeply harmful behaviors look completely normal. The system masks its damage through rebranding. It takes exhaustion and passes it through a filter until it looks like dedication, and emotional suppression until it's called maturity. These virtues form a rigid checklist you must complete, regardless of the health cost. We are conditioned to believe that self-abandonment is the only valid path to success. Broadcaster Earl Nightingale observed that we become what we think about, but today we have to ask, who or what is training those thoughts? Culture isn't just a collection of laws or media. It operates as an atmosphere, a frequency that we sit inside of every single day. When an environment constantly broadcasts urgency and comparison, those outer frequencies eventually collapse inward. The mind begins to match the exact tension of the room. Eventually, the external culture goes quiet because you have taken over its job, becoming your own harshest critic and guard. Once the environment enters the body, the demands of the culture become indistinguishable from your own internal monologue. This leads to the central irony of modern self-improvement. We are trying to heal while worshiping the exact habits that wounded us. We use meditation to survive 60-hour work weeks. We treat self-help to punish our bodies for productivity rather than becoming more alive. When the nervous system adapts to constant pressure, stillness feels like a threat. We become addicted to the very stress that harms us. Healing is not about finding a way to function more efficiently inside a system that is fundamentally broken. Real change begins as an act of attention, because wherever your attention goes, your energy inevitably follows. When attention is captured by external demands, our energy fractures into silos. Focus on fear channels energy into protection. Focus on approval into performance. Reclaiming energy requires an audit of what we consume, questioning the digital environments, conversations, and definitions of normal that drain us. If your attention never returns to your own body and your own truth, you eventually become a stranger to yourself. Most of us cannot simply walk away from jobs or families to find peace. The shift has to happen within the world we already inhabit. We need a buffer, a deliberate gap between a cultural expectation and our immediate reaction. Inside this space, we exercise discernment. We decide that not every urgency or social trend deserves a response from our nervous system. This is the process of becoming less available to inherited shame, less available to comparison, and less available to systems that profit from our disconnection. Healing arrives the moment you stop letting a sick world define what goodness and worth are supposed to mean.